Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another interesting use case. So today we are going to see the CRM enrollment process using LaiyeRPA product suite. So this is my second video on LaiyeRPA product suite. If you haven't seen the first video yet, I would suggest you to check out that first video and let me know how do you feel about that video, and also give me some suggestions about the future use cases that you might want to see on this RPA product suite. I'm also exploring it on the way. So let's see how much interesting use cases we can come up with. So also, if you want to support my channel, do like my channel, and also do subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed yet for upcoming notifications on more interesting use cases in future. So well, this let's talk about this process. So this process is basically an HR based process, as you can see. And here we are going to see the working of the whole RPA bot. So before that, we are going to talk about the overall architecture and the plugins that has been used for creating this bot. And once we know about the entire use case, then we are going to see the bot in action. So well, without any further ado, let's dive into the explanation of this entire RPA process. So well, as you can see from the very first block, like the LaiyeRPA bot is scheduled at a specific time every week by the LaiyeRPA commander. So the LaiyeRPA commander is a component of the LaiyeRPA product suite, which is responsible for orchestrating various processes onto different RPA workers. So here what we can do is like the RPA workers, they will be working on different machines and they will be executing various tasks. So whenever they're executing, let's say, a particular process, what it does is like first the bot will read the configuration file that is present in form of a spreadsheet for further processing. So here for our use case, we are using a Excel based configuration file. So this Excel based configuration file will have like three columns, like the name, the values, and the descriptions. And what the bot will do is it will read the entire Excel file and it will convert it into a dictionary variable. So let me show you how our Excel file looks like. So this is how our Excel file looks like. So as like I said, there are three columns. So we'll be converting this entire table, I would say, in form of a dictionary. So the only first two columns will be there, which will act as my key and my value. So now coming back to the diagram, the next thing that we have is like the bot launches the fake name generator website. So so here the fake name generator website is specifically a website which is responsible for generating, I would say, random employee details. So here random details are generated with respect to some parameters. We can give the ethnicity, like what kind of background we want. So this is the name set, and also we can give like from for which country we want to look the employee for. So for our use case, we are only using the United States of America as our country. The main reason is because of a limitation that we have in our CRM application that I'll be talking about in the next step. So in our CRM application, we have like a state drop down which only corresponds to the 52 states of United States. So that is the main reason why I'm using only US as my country. Again, there is also one more parameter, as you can see, that is the number of entries. So this tells me like how many employees I want to enroll for the day, though not a very realistic use case, I would say, but still for this demo I have used this so that I can limit the number of entries for like let's say 3 4 2 whatever I want. Okay, so what happens is like once the bot has generated, let's say, an employee detail, it will generate different details such as gender, name, I would say the email address, the phone number, the home address, right? So once it generates all this data, the bot will simply scrape off all that data and it will store it in form of a JSON object. So like this, like let's say if I have 10 employees, so 10 different JSON objects will be created, and at the end what happens is it converts it into a JSON array. So I have like a document set of all the employee details, I can say, by the end of this step. After that, what the bot will do is the bot will launch the CRM application, which is a desktop based application. Again, you can use different applications which are of enterprise grade, such as your Salesforce, Zoho, or you can use HubSpot. So all this can be an extension to this project, but for a very simple use case demo, I have just used a normal desktop based application that has been created in house. So once the bot launches the CRM application, it will try to fill up the data for each employee one by one. So let's say for one employee, whenever it finishes entering all the data, what the bot will do is the bot will set up my HR database, which is hosted as a Mongodb database. Now if you guys are not familiar with what a Mongodb database is, let me explain you in a bit. So the MongoDB database is basically a NoSQL type of a database. So it obviously facilitates a very fast computation and searching with compared to your traditional SQL-based databases. The reason being is because it stores your data in forms of JSON or BSON formats, in contrast to what your SQL databases does. Because the SQL databases, what they will do is they will store your data with a specific schema that you have predefined, and again there will be it will be stored in form of some tables, and there will be some relational databases, some foreign key concepts, some primary key concepts being introduced there. While in MongoDB database, the functionalities are a bit simpler. You have like some JSON strings, you have some documents, you can again create some relations between them if you want. Not exactly relations, I would say, in this case, but well, you can have some dependencies if you want. And yes, again, you can have any kind of data stored. That is the most, I would say, the biggest advantage that they have. There you can have like images, you can have unstructured data, structured data, you can even have audio, videos, you can have different type of data sets stored in a MongoDB. So for our use case, we are using a MongoDB that has been hosted on my own local server. So once that HR database, like the bot creates a particular record in your HR database, what it will do is it will also check like if your database was already present or not. If it was not present, it will again create it on fly. So I will just show you how our Mongo DB database looks like. So I have something called as a MongoDB Compass. So this is a GUI platform that is again a part of your MongoDB suite. So this you can use in order to interact with any database graphically. So as of now, if you can see at the left hand side of my screen, I don't have any database called as a CRM Enrolment DB. So I don't have any database, so it's a very fresh data, I would say, today that we'll be processing on. So now coming back to the use case. So here after this step, we have the final step in which we will be notifying the HR admin, who basically is an SME of this process. And what we will be notifying, the bot will be notifying her about will be the enrolled candidates for today's date via an SMS. Now again, here the bot will first retrieve the data for today's for the employees that have been enrolled in today's date only. The reason being is because we do not want any data, like let's say if I have run that this bot like in previous 2 weeks, I don't want the HR admin to be notified about those data, right, the prior ones. So here first I will be like executing a filter query to the MongoDB to just return me the records that corresponds to today's date. And then yes, I will be sending that all that detail in form of a predefined SMS template that is in my configuration file. And this SMS will be sent with the help of a Twilio web service. So Twilio is again a paid service that you can use for making voice calls, for sending SMSs. Even you can send WhatsApp messages if you want, though there is some elevated permissions required for that. So for our use case, we are only using a simple SMS feature provided by Twilio. So the best part about this process now coming to is the custom plugins. So in this RPA tool, the best part is like in one process itself, we can have different programming languages incorporated. So it is, I would say, a very developer friendly tool in this aspect, because there might be many people coming from different programming backgrounds. Some might be comfortable with Python, some might be comfortable with Java, some might be comfortable with C#. So it supports all of that thing. So they can create it in any IDE they want to create and using any programming framework they want. So I will be talking about all these three frameworks, how I have created my own custom plugins. So if you see on the left hand side of the screen, here are all my custom commands that I have created. Now the custom commands that you create in your LaiyeRPA tool are like segregated into two parts. You can either have a library or you can have a module. Libraries are something which are more of a reusable components that you create within the LaiyeRPA creator itself. So I have created some modules, like some blocks, which I'm using repeatedly in my tasks. So first I will talk about them. The very first thing that I've created is a Twilio Helper. The Twilio Helper is basically a REST command, I would say. It uses the HTTPS protocol, and then again, it's a REST framework. And again, it will be sending a post method. So here what I will be doing is I will be having a base URL of Twilio. Again, everything is set up in the configuration file. So I will be setting up all the parameters like your phone numbers for my own service number and the number that I want to send to, that is for the HR admin. Again, I will be having parameters like the SID and the authentication token. So everything will be sent out using this library. So after that, we have one more library, that is the logger library. Logger library is used for incorporating a custom logging kind of a feature that I have incorporated in my bot. So by default, LaiyeRPA provides you their own robot logs, but again, in many projects that I have also worked, some people prefer to have their own different type of custom logging. Some have a Excel based logging, some have a text based logging, some have a CSV based logging. So for me, I used like across all my RPA projects a CSV based kind of a logging. I will just show you how my log file looks like. So this is how my log file will look like, and the reason why I use this kind of a logging is because it facilitates, I would say, easy filtering of the different type of log messages. Like I can filter here like using the Excel only, like what kind of log messages I want to see, an error one or an info one or a debug one. That is the main reason why I use this kind of a logging. So again, yeah, so this was all about, like I talked about my uh, libraries in general. Now let me come to the modules. Now modules are something that you create using a IDE and obviously a specific programming language. Okay, so here I have like used the three different programming languages since I'm acquainted with them: C Sharp, Python, and Java. I've worked in all of these three programming languages throughout my career, I would say. So let me take you one by one to each and every plugin. So the very first plugin is an Excel Advanced plugin. So here in the Excel Advanced plugin, I will just show you. I have used the Visual Studio IDE that is very popular among all of you. So I have used this to create a C Sharp DLL that I have used as a plugin. Again, here I have used like I would say the .NET framework of 5.0, and I have used the Microsoft Office Interop Excel DLL, or the namespace you can say, for this reason. Okay, so here what it does, now let me talk about that. So this particular plugin has this very simple function which will give you the current range of a worksheet, like how many ranges are actually in use. So in LaiyeRPA, what happens is whenever we are reading an Excel file, we need to provide a static range, like some predefined range. So let's say today I'm reading the configuration file, so I might have 10 elements in it. Tomorrow I might add some rows, maybe after that I might delete some rows. So it is obviously going to change every day. So if I want to incorporate a dynamic range, so for that reason I'm using this particular function here. Okay, so that is the main reason why I've used the very first operation. Now the second operation is a screenshot operation that I have used for taking some screenshots at runtime. So for that, what I have used is I have used a Java based plugin, I would say, and for this I have used my Java SDK 1.7.0 and IntelliJ IDE. I'm using the Java AWT package, so which will have some inbuilt functions and objects through which I can create some objects and take out the screenshot. So this, how is this useful, is like, let's say in LaiyeRPA by default they provide you the functionality to take a screenshot of a particular browser object or an element object. But let's say I don't know at runtime, whenever, like anytime an exception might come, right? And you might need to capture that screenshot altogether at that time. So this particular plugin will help me to take the entire window screenshot, no matter where my bot is currently at. So for that reason, I have used this particular Java plugin. The very last plugin is a Python plugin that I have used, that is a MongoDB operations plugin. By the name, it is quite evident why it is being used. I'm using it to interact with my MongoDB database in order to create a connection, I would say, in order to fetch the records, in order to maybe insert some records. So I'm using this. So here I am using my favorite IDE of all time, that is a PyCharm IDE. Again, I am also using the Python 3.9.0, and the library being used here is a PyMongo library basically. So the PyMongo library will help you to create some objects and to create all those connections, that fetching of data, and also to perform all those operations that you require. So yeah, this was all about the plugins that I have used. Now I think we should dive into the working of the bot. So let's go there and let's see how the bot really performs.